Introduction. Sleep is something we take for granted until we can't have it. When you're tossing and turning all night, it's difficult to relax your body or shut off your brain. Then there's more frustration because it can't be done, and the cycle continues. Worse yet is going to bed the next night with a feeling of dread and anxiety, worrying if the same thing will happen again. It's a vicious cycle that feeds off itself, and like any cycle, it can seem impossible to emerge from it. But there are techniques you can use, and there is hope for even the worst case of insomnia. Sometimes the causes of our sleeplessness are varied. It can be anything from having too much coffee that day, to worrying about a meeting the following day. To-do lists suddenly become extremely important at 11 at night when we realize we didn't accomplish everything we had hoped to. For many, there is even the likelihood of dwelling on stressful past situations. These can lead to anxiety attacks in the middle of the night, and the adrenaline rush that comes with those memories can leave you awake for hours. While it may seem hopeless trying to get a good night's sleep, it's not. There are many things you can do to help ease your body into that calm state of drifting off. One thing to consider will always be your sleep hygiene. Essentially, it means you create a nighttime and morning routine that is the same every day. It also means to avoid drinking or eating substances that can affect your quality of sleep. While it may seem somewhat unimportant, sleep hygiene plays a bigger role than many believe. It's something doctors have been swearing by for years. It might sound complicated, but it's not. All sleep hygiene entails is having good sleep habits, such as keeping your circadian rhythms in check and ensuring you have a peaceful environment to sleep in. However, it's possible a good routine may not be enough to ensure you get your rest. When sleep hygiene isn't enough, there are things you can do to help yourself relax. In this book, we have several short stories and guided meditations geared toward bringing you to the brink of sleep. Whatever the cause of your sleeplessness, this guide will give you many different ways to relax through good old-fashioned storytelling, guided meditations, and visualizations. So dim the lights, fluff the pillow, and lay back. It's time for you to get some well-deserved rest. Chapter 1. About sleep. The importance of sleep. Everyone needs sleep. It doesn't matter what your age is. If you're not getting enough, then you are suffering. There are many benefits to getting enough shut-eye. Some of these benefits are obvious, like our mood the next day, while others, such as maintaining weight, are not so obvious. Many people underestimate the importance a good sleep plays in your overall health. Chronic sleepiness can lead to physical and mental issues which may require medical attention. So it's important to take care of your sleep as soon as you know there are some issues. To ensure you are getting the quality of sleep your body deserves, there are some things you need to know first. Why is it important to get enough sleep? Imagine your body as a smartphone. Basically, our body is a compact computer, requiring daily charging to ensure it works appropriately. If we aren't charged regularly, we will eventually stop functioning. Sleep allows our minds and bodies to recharge, leaving us feeling refreshed, alert, and ready to face the day. It keeps our bodies healthy and our minds thinking clearly. Adults usually need 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night, though this can vary from person to person. A solid night's sleep can help improve your everyday life in many different ways. Here are a few examples. It improves brain function. Sleep helps enhance your memories, concentration, problem-solving skills, and creativity. When you sleep, your brain forms new pathways so you can remember and learn better. Remember when you were always told to get a good night's rest before a test at school? This is why. It helps your body heal. During sleep, your heart rate and blood pressure drop, giving your body time to repair and heal your heart and blood vessels. When you sleep, your muscles relax, which reduces inflammation. Incidentally, this is also the time when a child's body grows the most, which is why teenagers sleep so much. Sleep keeps you healthy. Your immune system needs sleep to stay alert and able to fight against bacteria and viruses. Less sleep makes your immune system slower and less likely to react in time to stop you from getting ill. Fatigue will seriously wear you down, and it will make illness all the more likely. Help maintain your weight. When you're well rested, you tend to be less hungry. Lack of sleep prevents your body from producing hormones that keep your appetite in check. This is something that is sometimes overlooked when we are looking at weight loss programs, but it is an important component. The less tired you are, the less likely you are to go looking for carbs to spike your energy. The 4 stages of sleep. Your body has an internal clock that works on a 24-hour schedule and is in sync with the rising and setting of the sun. This is known as your circadian rhythm. Bright light influences this rhythm, which is connected to a special bundle of nerves in the brain. This nerve bundle helps your body determine the time of day through the light sensors in your eyes. When the sun sets and the light begins to dim, your body starts to produce melatonin, a hormone that helps you sleep. When the sun rises, your body produces cortisol to help you stay alert during the day by keeping your energy levels high. There are 4 stages of sleep, which repeat in 90 to 120-minute cycles throughout the night. The first 3 stages are known as non-rapid eye movement, NREM stages. The 4th stage is rapid eye movement, REM stage. Stage 1. This stage is the transition stage from being awake to asleep. Your muscles start to relax, your heart rate, breathing, and eye movement slow down, and your brain waves decrease. This usually only takes a few minutes. Stage 2. During this stage, you fall into a deeper sleep. Heart rate, breathing, and eye movement slow down further. Your body temperature and blood temperature begin to drop. This is the longest of the 4 stages. Stage 3. This stage helps you feel refreshed and ready for the next day. Breathing, heart rate, brainwaves, and body temperature are at their lowest. The duration of this stage becomes shorter and shorter as the night progresses. Stage 4. This is the REM stage. The first stage of REM sleep usually starts 90 minutes after falling asleep. This stage is characterized by your eyes moving rapidly from side to side beneath your eyelids. Your breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure will begin to increase. You usually dream during this stage, and your body becomes paralyzed to keep you from getting hurt. During REM sleep, your brain will sort through everything that happened during the day and form long-term memories. As stage 3 decreases in duration, this stage will increase. Why do you have trouble sleeping? Stress, a busy work schedule, and other factors can keep you rolling around at night without any sleep. Bright lights, electronic devices, and social media keep us up until late. Having difficulty sleeping is a common problem in adults, but the extent differs from person to person. There are several reasons why people can't get enough sleep. Mental, physical, and environmental factors can also influence sleep patterns. In today's technological world, electronic devices such as cell phones and laptops, as well as bright lights, are some of the main reasons people don't sleep. Bright artificial light messes with your internal clock, tricking it into thinking it's still daylight and not yet time for sleep. The blue light given off by devices like cell phones has the same effect on our bodies. Health problems like pain, indigestion, and general discomfort also make sleeping difficult. Conditions such as depression, stress, or anxiety, along with caffeine, alcohol, and smoking, also disrupt sleeping patterns. Although some of the above-mentioned reasons are only temporary, stress, depression, and anxiety can cause long-term sleep disorders. Sleep disorders. What are sleep disorders? Sleep disorders or sleep-wake disorders are problems that impact your sleep patterns. The duration and quality of your sleep are affected and cause problems which prevent you from functioning normally in your day-to-day life. These problems include mood swings, difficulty concentrating, and reduced reaction speeds. There are several types of sleep disorders, such as insomnia and shift work disorder. Shift work disorder. Shift work sleep disorder, SWSD, as the name suggests, affects people working shifts that fall outside of normal work hours, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. People with this disorder can lose up to 4 hours of sleep each night. This disorder affects your circadian rhythm because you keep irregular hours. Because your circadian rhythm is aligned with daylight, irregular work schedules can make this rhythm wonky, preventing you from getting proper sleep. It also doesn't work with the society we live in. For the most part, business is conducted during the day, so if you suffer from SWSD and live with family, you might not get the rest you need. It's also possible that other distractions, like phones ringing or outside noise, will affect the quality of your sleep. SWSD is a long-term condition with the following symptoms. You're sleepy, whether it's at home or work. You have trouble concentrating. Your energy levels are low. When you wake, you feel like you don't get enough sleep, leaving you tired and moody. Insomnia. Insomnia is the most common sleeping disorder and is the inability to fall or stay asleep. Up to 50% of adults experience insomnia to some degree in their lives. These symptoms can be brought on by jet lag, anxiety and stress, or health problems. Not everyone experiences the sleep disorder in the same way. Insomnia is believed to be caused by a state of hyperarousal, which can be mental, physical, physiological, or environmental. There are 3 types of insomnia. Transient. The sleepless nights last only a few days at a time. Intermittent. Sleepless nights occur periodically. Chronic. This type of insomnia happens regularly for at least 1 month. These can be further divided into 2 groups: sleep-onset insomnia and sleep-maintenance insomnia. Sleep-onset insomnia happens in bed. It is the inability to fall asleep once you're in bed because you can't relax, have jet lag, an irregular circadian rhythm, or other medical factors like restless leg syndrome. Sleep-maintenance insomnia is the inability to stay asleep. This is a common sleep disorder in elderly people. People who smoke or drink a lot of alcohol or caffeine before bed are also much more likely to develop this type of insomnia. Symptoms of insomnia include fatigue, waking up too early, and not feeling tired when it's time to go to bed. Insomnia is also a common symptom of other sleep disorders, such as shift work disorder, sleep apnea, and periodic limb movement disorder. Anxiety. Although technically not a sleeping disorder, anxiety can still keep you awake at night. Anxiety is associated with feelings of dread, fear, and nervousness. It is a normal reaction in stressful situations, but for some people, these feelings can linger for months. Their fears are bigger than what the situation calls for. People living with anxiety try to avoid stressful situations that can trigger an attack and can't live life to its fullest. They live with these fears and worries so much that it has become a part of their daily life. Excessive fears and nervousness interfere with everyday life. It creates a feeling of impending doom and reduces their ability to concentrate. Anxiety is both physical and emotional. Symptoms can include tense muscles, rapid breathing and heart rate, sweating, trembling, trouble concentrating, feeling nervous or restless, gastrointestinal problems, fatigue, insomnia, panic attacks. The most common time for anxiety to strike is at night, usually when you try to sleep or even while you sleep. Nocturnal panic attacks wake you, giving your body a shot of adrenaline and make it almost impossible to fall back asleep. Symptoms of panic attacks include increased heart rate, chest pains, shortness of breath, dizziness, sweating, chills, or hot flashes, feeling like nothing is real. Problem sleeping and anxiety go hand in hand because lack of sleep can increase anxiety, in turn decreasing the amount of sleep you get. Anxiety makes calming your mind at night difficult. All your worries and fears tumble over each other when you try to sleep. Focusing on the stress of the day or what needs to be done the next day can cause an adrenaline rush and a sleepless night. How do you deal with sleepless nights? Techniques to help you sleep. There are dozens of ways to get a good night's sleep, and below are only a few. Increase bright light exposure during the day. Getting enough natural light during the day can help you sleep at night. The bright light tells your body it's daytime, which increases your energy levels. If you live in an area of the world that has reduced sunlight during the winter, you may benefit from purchasing a special sun lamp that mimics real sunlight. Using it first thing in the morning for short periods of time can help your circadian rhythm stay on track. Bright lights during the night mess with your internal clock, making your body think it's still day. If your circadian rhythm is out of sync, it will be more difficult to fall asleep at night. Using dimmer lights at night will tell your body it's night, and you will become more tired closer to bedtime, making you sleep longer and better. If you live in an area of the world that has daylight for 24 hours during the summer, you will benefit from having thick blinds that block the daylight from your bedroom and living room. By reducing the amount of daylight in your house, you can trick your body into thinking it is actually night. Reduce blue light exposure at night. Electronic devices like cell phones, telephones, tablets, and laptops give off blue light. This blue light has the same effect as bright lights on your body. It keeps your body awake, making you less likely to get rest. There are several ways you can limit your exposure. Stop watching television 2 hours before bedtime. Limit your screen time on electronic devices. Download an app or use glasses which block out the blue light from your phone and laptop. Don't drink caffeine late in the day. Coffee is a great way to keep you energized throughout the day. It stimulates your nervous system and keeps you mentally alert, improving your overall performance. Caffeine can stay in your blood for up to 8 hours, keeping you awake and preventing your body from relaxing. If you're sensitive to caffeine or have trouble sleeping, you should stop drinking large amounts of coffee after 4 p.m. It's also important to remember that some herbal teas and other drinks contain caffeine. Even some desserts which are made with coffee flavouring, like tiramisu, may contain trace amounts of caffeine. So make sure you are monitoring what you take in toward the end of the day. Don't take long or irregular naps during the day. Taking short power naps during the day can help boost your energy levels. These naps can be good for you if you have trouble sleeping at night or when you are ill. Long or irregular naps can confuse your internal clock, and you can struggle to sleep at night. While power naps, 10 to 20-minute naps, are a great way to recover and recharge, naps lasting longer than that can leave you feeling groggy and unable to sleep at night. Keep a realistic sleep schedule. Going to bed each night and waking up in the morning at the same time, even on weekends, will teach your body when it's time to go to sleep. Your circadian rhythm is set on a loop, and going to sleep at the same time will help your body reset this rhythm, even after it has been disrupted by sleep disorders, stress, etc. Establish a pre-sleep routine you do every night before bed, like putting on pajamas and brushing your teeth. This routine, which is a part of proper sleep hygiene, will put you in the right mindset and tell your body it's time to sleep. Follow this routine every night at the same time, and you will likely notice a difference. Don't drink water before bed. Before bed, reduce the amount of fluids you take in. Drinking lots of water or other fluids before you go to bed can cause nocturia. Nocturia, the need to go to the bathroom often during the night, keeps you from a restful sleep. As you age, nocturia is more likely to happen. And abstaining from water before bed will become an important habit to keep. Hydration is vital for your health. However, drinking less water, coffee or tea before bed will help stop you from having to go to the bathroom late at night. Going to the bathroom before bed can also prevent the onset of nocturia. Create a calm and clean bedroom environment. It is a general belief that your bedroom environment reflects the type of sleep you get. Factors that influence your sleep are temperature, lights, furniture and noise. You might have noticed you have trouble sleeping during the summer because of the heat. Setting your bedroom temperature at a comfortable level is a good way to relax and find some sleep. Lights and noise can keep you awake, so blocking out as much as you can is a good idea. To help you keep your bedroom calm and relaxing, keep it clean and only use it for sleep. Once you get your bedroom arranged with these tips in mind, your body will begin to associate it with relaxation and sleep, rather than stimulation and anxiety. Take a bath or shower. Taking a relaxing bath or shower is a great way to unwind and get ready for bed. The hot water will help your muscles relax and can calm your mind. If you don't or can't take a bath or shower, simply soaking your feet in hot water can have a similar effect. Alternatively, if you are someone who can't sleep when they are too warm, soaking your feet in cool water can help bring down your temperature and induce sleep. Clear and relax your mind before going to bed. With our busy lives, it can be difficult to relax. A pre-sleep routine will help you calm and clear your mind. Listening to relaxing music, meditating, breathing exercises, and reading a book are several ways to help you relax. Autonomous sensory meridian response, ASMR, might also help you sleep. This is the tingling sensation or shivers that start on your head and move down your spine. Some will get goosebumps on their body as well. For some, this will leave you feeling relaxed and help you sleep. Common ASMR techniques include popping bubble wrap, brushing your hair, the sound of typing or page turning. Read a book. Reading before bed is one of the best techniques to use before bed. It distracts your mind from stress, helps your muscles relax, lowers your breathing, and leaves you feeling calmer. When your body relaxes, it can cause a domino effect, sending your body into sleep mode. Like Mason Cooley's quote, "Reading gives us some place to go when we have to stay where we are." Stories give us a way to escape our troubles, even if it's only for a little while. What you read may have an effect on your sleep, so pay attention to what you decide to pick up before bed. Start by reading for 20 minutes each night. If you feel tired before your 20 minutes are up, reduce the time to 10 or 15 minutes. If 20 minutes isn't enough, read for longer periods, as long as it doesn't interfere with your sleep. Chapter 2. Relaxing Short Stories. Stories can help bring on sleep by distracting the mind from the day-to-day minutiae that can make it difficult to relax. With that being said, it's important to remember that the type of story you read before bed may play a role in whether you sleep or not. Reading a soothing story with a happy ending can leave people feeling fulfilled and peaceful. Picking up the latest Stephen King novel could leave you unable to sleep for weeks. Your brain will react to the stories you choose to read before bed, so it's important to make informed choices about the books or stories you read in bed. Below are several short stories designed to leave you feeling peaceful and relaxed once you're done reading. Homecoming. The crisp autumn air pinched at my cheeks as I walked down the lane towards my grandmother's house. Red and gold leaves rained down around me, covering the road in a blanket of color. They crunched beneath my feet and gave off sweet, subtle scent the fall always seems to carry. I had been away from home for too long. The anticipation of seeing my grandma filled me. She was always my favorite. Her home has always been my home. Her warm embrace was pure love. As I walked, swishing through the leaves, I could practically smell the warm, buttery buns she always made. My mouth watered thinking about the soft bun with a warm, crispy top. I would slather it with real butter and her homemade peach jam. She always made sure to include me when she was baking. After she had measured the ingredients, I would dump them into a bowl. We'd take turns stirring the batter. When all was done and the kitchen was cleaned, we would sit out on her front porch drinking sweet tea or lemonade. If the moon was full, we'd dance under it. She was mesmerizing to watch in the moonlight, a goddess with her hair hanging loose around her. I would do my best to imitate her, dancing around our small fire. After the hot day, the grass was always cool and dewy beneath my feet, leaving me feeling more connected to the earth than before I danced. There was something magical about those nights. I was certain the deep connection I had with my grandmother had grown partly because of those times we danced. They were some of my most treasured memories. I had left home when I turned 18 and chased after my heart's desire. He led me across the country before I realized we weren't the right fit. But it was difficult for me to go back. I was on my own and there was always something that came up. Usually it was financial issues. My car was used, so there was no warranty, and it's expensive to live in the big city with no help. It was a good experience to live my life on my own. It showed me what I was missing. I wasn't nearly as connected with nature as I was when I was home. I missed my family, even though we spoke regularly. There was always the question left unasked, "When are you coming home?" The truth was, I didn't know. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, they say, and maybe that's all my heart needed, was a little bit of time away from what I'd grown up with. It was a naive way to look at the world, but I was really still a child. Once I realized I was forgetting some of the recipes Grandma had taught me, I knew something had to be done. She wasn't one to leave home, so that meant I had to go to her. And as I prepared for my little trip, it became painfully obvious it wasn't going to be a short-term period in my life. Now, listening to the birds chirp in the trees along the lane, I wondered why I had ever left this beautiful place. Just around the bend up ahead, I could see the small cottage. The front porch was a gleaming white set against the grey house. Cedar shingles covered the roof, giving off a welcoming scent as I approached. Grandma didn't know I was coming. I wanted to surprise her. My mother had been thrilled I was moving back. It turned out life in the big city was just too much for me. The sounds of vehicles and sirens made sleep nearly impossible most nights. On other nights, anxiety kept me from my dreams. Coming home had been like putting on a heavy, warm blanket. I was comforted instantly, and I could only imagine the peace my grandma's house would bring me. At the porch, I climbed the 3 wooden stairs. I avoided all the creaky parts, remembering the pattern from childhood. Soft music played inside, the gospel choirs Grandma loved so much. It was a soothing sound, and it brought me memories of laughter and joy. I knocked on the screen door and waited with bated breath. The interior door creaked open, and my grandma's familiar wrinkled face peeked through. "Amber?" she said almost in a whisper. "It's me," I said. She pulled the door open and extended her arms to me. I ran into them like I had when I was a child. She smelled the same as I remembered. Lavender lotion, crisp, clean linen, and a little bit of cinnamon from the buns she'd been making. She hugged me tight until I could feel my muscles finally relax, and all of my worries leave me. In the years I had been questing for my independence, I had forgotten where I actually belonged. I was home now, and I could think of no other place I ever wanted to be. "You're just in time for fresh cinnamon buns," she said in a delighted tone. I surprised myself by giggling like I had as a child. I wondered if the days of giggles, as my grandma had coined them, were coming back. The smell coming from the cozy kitchen made my mouth water. I sat in one of the carved wooden chairs my grandpa had once made, in front of the wooden table. She put the hot pan of buns on a towel in front of me. I held my hands out to feel the warmth emanating from it. Then, one of my old purple plates was set in front of me, and she served me a bun. It was piping hot, especially the icing she'd slathered on. I had to take my time in tearing the warm bun apart. I could see the sugar and cinnamon-coated bread on the inside, and suddenly, I couldn't wait. I sunk my teeth into the delicious sweet bun and closed my eyes. 1,000 memories flitted through my mind at the first taste of cinnamon and brown sugar. They were the memories of love, laughter, and a life I'd almost forgotten. "How long are you here for?" she asked. "Forever," I said quickly. "I'm not going anywhere." The truth. In early childhood, we are always encouraged to believe in magic. There is Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, the Sandman, and many others who help us to live a full life. Then we reach a certain age where we are discouraged from believing in it. Everything was a lie all along. It's disheartening, and that's the day we start to die. But they are wrong. Magic does exist. It always has and always will. If you're quiet and you close your eyes, you can hear it at night when you are laying under the stars. First the cicadas start up with their clicking, then the frogs will kick in. Their gentle croaks complement the cicadas. Over it all is the breeze tickling the leaves of the trees. It rustles your shirts and leaves goosebumps on your arms. Your head dances to its tune. The soft rustle of animals in the underbrush work themselves in. Taking a deep breath through your nose, you can smell the dirt in the trees around your small meadow. The scent of grass and moss calms you. The ground is warm beneath you. The heat of the day has left the ground feeling sun-kissed and blessed. Spreading your arms out to either side, you can feel the beauty of the moment in your soul. When you finally open your eyes, there is a bright moon overhead, shining down on you. The moonlight softens the world, making things that would normally be frightening beautiful. Behind the moon, the stars wink at you. Tracing the constellations in the night sky is relaxing, and you enjoy finding the big and little dippers. Over there is Orion's belt. All at once it seems as if the stars have fallen around you. It's lightning bugs hovering over the meadow. They fly in lazy circles, humming as they move along. And you realize you are experiencing magic. You have been transported to this place of peace and serenity with only your will. Imagine the possibilities. They tell you magic isn't real. But here we are. From there, is it too much to imagine the little stars dancing in the meadow are not fireflies, but rather fairies? They hover around you, intrigued at this being who has entered their realm. You reach your hands up and one lands on your hand, tiptoeing little steps across it. The tickling sensation sends shivers up your body, leaving goosebumps in its wake, and a feeling of joy. Another joins the fairy on your palm, and the two begin dancing to a merry tune that suddenly floats through the meadow. You sit up and look around the area, wondering where the noise is coming from. In the trees you can see figures and lights moving. You aren't sure who it is, but you're not frightened. You feel calm and curious. Then you realize the music is coming from this parade through the woods. Watching these creatures, you understand that you are a part of something that few ever get to experience. You eagerly memorize every detail of the evening. How your body is feeling more relaxed than it has ever before. The tickle of the fairies' feet as they land on your shoulder and head. There's a scent of something warm and spicy too. You can almost taste sweet buns or hot chocolate on the air, as though the scents are created from your own pleasant memories. All of this exists for you. It is real. So why would we ever doubt the possibility of the magic that surrounds us? Now that you are older and wiser, you are expected to not believe in magic. But you're in on the secret. The magic will always be there. You just have to open yourself up to it. Traditions. The water of the lake is murky, and my line disappears into its depths almost completely. Were it not for the bright hook I had, I wouldn't even be able to see it down there. Many times I have been told the lake stinks. People describe the scent as rotten or putrid. I disagree. The smell of the lake is the smell of new beginnings. Everything in the world has to die. And once they do, their body is turned into something else. At the lake, you can smell that change. It is my favourite place, the place I feel closest to my late father. When I was young, he brought me out here every weekend he could. Together, we'd sit on this old aluminium boat, rocking gently on the placid water. Since his passing, I visited this place as often as I can. Lately, that has been less and less as my life gets busier. I know I should bring my son out here, but I don't want to share this spot just yet. It belongs to me, and my memories are all I have left. As I look down into the water, waiting for the fish to bite, I can swear if I turn around I will see my dad on the other side. He'll be chewing on a twig like he always does. Once the twig is done, he casts it onto the lake and grabs another. He used to be a smoker, but he quit when I was a child. The twigs, he said, helped him to keep his mouth occupied and allowed him to forget about any cravings or yearnings he might have. There was always a cooler of ice-cold drinks and some sandwiches we'd packed. I kept that tradition to this day, though I'd grown from orange soda to a nice pilsner. I feel a gentle tug on my line and a grin stretches across my face. "Now's the time, son," I could hear him whisper. "If you're not careful, you'll chase off the fish. Reel her in nice and slow for a moment. Let it chase the hook." Slowly, I pulled the line in, watching as the bright hook danced below. Then I felt the certain tug of a fish who'd fallen for the bait. I tugged up my rod sharp like my dad had shown me all those years ago. It put up a good fight as I reeled it in. It tugged, making the boat turn in a lazy circle, but I was the winner in the end. I pulled my win off the hook and put it in the metal bucket beside the cooler. The bucket sang as the fish flopped around inside before finally deciding it was time to move on to its next life. My mouth watered at the remembered sense of the fish roasting over the small fire we would make in the wood stove after we were done. Most of the fish would come back home with us and go in the freezer. But we always made sure we had one before we left for the evening. I had kept this tradition going for years after he passed on. I leaned my head back and basked in the warmth of the sun for a moment. It had been chilly when I had gone out on the water in the morning. The fog had still stretched across the lake, and it had been difficult finding the right spot. I had worn a jacket and a hooded sweatshirt then, but now I was sitting in my t-shirt, enjoying the weather. These were the days to cherish. When we come out fishing, my dad had always insisted we go out rain or shine. We'd made the trip and put in the effort, so we might as well see it through. Even in the rain and the cold, I'd always treasured that time. His clasps on my shoulder, and his firm, "You did good," always made me feel better. Before the day is done, I have 3 or 4 more fish in the bucket. I shuffled around a bit and sat down on the middle of the bench to start rowing myself back to shore. The soft drip of the oars in the water is music to my ears. It builds up the anticipation of fish even more. The lake is pretty large, so rowing back takes me a good 15 minutes. The hard workout my body gets is refreshing. My dad used to always handle the oars. It was his favourite time of the day. Up until our last trip, I never had to use them once. I tied my boat to the dock and set my cooler and bucket out. Then I grabbed my rod and tackle box and stepped out. The trek back to the small cabin wasn't long, and it didn't bother me to make more than one trip through the woods. It was a winding path, originally one made by deer, and it led to an old cabin my dad had built when I was a baby. There wasn't much to it. It was made of rough-hewn logs and had wooden shingles. I tried to keep up with the maintenance as much as I could, but I wasn't out here often enough, so it was starting to look more a part of nature than something that could shelter me from it. Still, it was a roof, and there was a wood stove waiting inside for me to fry up some fish. Inside, there was a tub filled with water that I had brought with me. I set the bucket on a wooden table and went about starting the fire. Cleaning the fish is next. The guts, head, and bones were always brought outside so no animals would be tempted to raid the cabin. No other food was stored here. The only thing eaten here was the fish at the end of a good day. I pulled the cast-iron frying pan out from my pack and set it on top of the stove. Then I dropped in the white fillets of fish and listened to them as they sizzled. All it needed was a bit of salt and pepper to enhance the flavour. The best seasoning you can give your food is a bit of hunger, my dad used to say. He was always right. The fish tasted better after a day of work. It wasn't long before the fish was cooked through. I leaned over the pan for a moment, savouring the aroma of my work. Then I put the 2 fillets on a plate to cool. There were only coals in the stove now, and I was glad for them. In the evening around the lake, the temperature could drop quickly, and I was beginning to feel the chill. I reached my hands towards it, feeling the warmth spread from my open palms into myself. Then I turned to my supper. I didn't need cutlery. My hands were good enough. The temperature in the room dropped again. I felt a shiver run up my spine and looked over at the stove. The coals were still there, burning just as bright. When I looked back, I saw him. Tears welled up in my eyes instantly. He looked just like I remembered. "Dad?" I whispered. He nodded at me, smiling around the twig in his mouth. I was seeing a younger version of him. A version of him that had been before the cancer. He still had the grey hair and the short beard. His blue eyes still had the crow's feet etched in deep. His bucket hat was identical to the one I was wearing, as was the vest. Both were items I'd kept from my trips. I realized I looked a lot like him. It was almost like looking in a mirror, except for the twig. I forgot all about my fish as I stared at him. He nodded once, and then said, "It's time to bring him out." He hadn't met my child before he passed. He missed the birth of my son by mere months. Ethan was 10 now. I realized he was encouraging me to pass the tradition down. As he saw the understanding in my expression, he nodded again, then stood, making his way toward the door. "Don't go," I said. He turned back and offered me a wink, then disappeared at the door. He was gone, but not really. This place was just as much a part of him as it was me. I looked around the cabin and realized I'd let it fall apart. I decided I would bring Ethan out this summer, and we would work on it together, in the evenings after we were done fishing. Today was the beginning of another tradition. Only this time, I was the father. I quickly ate the fish as I packed up my stuff. I was excited to head home and talk to Ethan, to finally bring him out to the special place I'd shared with his grandfather. Scavenger hunt. My 25th anniversary present from Mark was a trip to Bali. We had never had a honeymoon. It was a shotgun wedding, and there were already too many responsibilities to take care of. Now that our kids were gone to college and mostly independent, it was time for us to vacation as a couple. The gift was an extravagant surprise, one that almost made me question if we could afford it. He assured me, though, that he'd been saving up for years to take me somewhere nice. The only downside was I would have to go by myself for the first few days. Mark had booked the time off from work, but the firm had begged him to stay a bit later. An important merger or something was coming up. Taking time off from my work as a teacher was easy. But once his firm called him in, it was too late to make any changes to the dates. I was pretty disappointed, but still, there was a part of me that was giddy with the idea of having a villa in Bali all to myself for a couple of days. Peace and quiet were luxuries I sought after on a regular basis. In the evenings, I would sit out on the back deck and close my eyes, letting the sun shine down on me. I would pretend I was actually on vacation somewhere warm and working on my tan. Sometimes I'd have a drink, but usually not. Normally, my peace was short-lived as one child or another interrupted with something they needed to discuss. Mark was always respectful of that time, though, and he never bothered me until I came inside. In hindsight, I wondered if this was perhaps part of his gift as well. The flight to Bali was uneventful, but exhausting. I was glad we were staying for 10 days. It would give me plenty of time to recover from the jet lag. Oh, my taxi driver was a chatterbox, and he had me laughing by the time I reached our villa in Denpasar. He had a long list of sights for me to see while I was there, and I was excited to get out in the next couple of days. First on the list, though, was exploring the villa Mark had rented. Oh, it was big enough for 6 guests, but there was just going to be the 2 of us. There was a kitchen already stocked with food, and a beautiful pool outside. Not far from the pool was a koi pond, with the water tinkling merrily from the water feature. The sun was warm, and the lounger was calling my name. Rather than unpack or explore the rest of the house, I stretched out my body on the lounge chair by the pool and listened to the sound of the water in the koi pond. I closed my eyes and stretched my body, feeling all of my tight, achy muscles loosen in the heat. The air was far more humid than in my hometown in Wyoming. It reminded me of sitting in a steam sauna with the heat of the sun and the humidity in the air. At some point, I drifted off into a relaxing nap. I woke as the sun was setting and cursed myself for not making it to the beach. It would have been beautiful there. I busied myself in the kitchen, making a nice fruit salad to go with a grilled chicken breast. The mango was delightfully juicy and sweet. The flavor exploded in my mouth and was so much better than what I could get at home. I wanted to eat nothing but fruit for supper, but I knew that would leave me hungry in a couple of hours. I put the chicken in the pan and listened to the sizzle and pop as I added seasoning to it. It was simple, but delicious, especially mixed with the salad. Even though I was still feeling energized, I decided to go to bed and try to get some rest. Up in the master bedroom, there was a large ensuite with a clawfoot tub. It looked like heaven, and I decided I would have a bath before crawling under the covers. I was an avid reader and had bought several books with me, not knowing which one I would feel like reading. I decided on Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. After all, I am a world traveler now. The sound of the water filling the tub echoed around me, and I dumped in some lilac-scented bubble bath. I eased my body into the hot water and laid back against the gentle slope of the tub. Again, my body relaxed, each muscle soothed by the water. The scent of lilacs left me feeling relaxed and sleepy. So I grabbed my book, flipping through the pages to find where I had last left off. The next morning, I ended up sleeping in a bit. I hadn't been able to sleep for most of the night because of jet lag, but I still felt well rested. I had a light breakfast and was planning to see the sights my cab driver had mentioned. When I opened the door, there was a brown package on the stoop. I picked it up, thinking it was for the owners. But then I noticed my name on the top. I looked around, but I didn't see anyone. If the doorbell had rang, I wouldn't have heard anything either. Nobody but Mark knew exactly where I was, and I was nervous to open the package. Instead, I pulled out my phone and tried calling Mark. I tried to calculate the time there, but I gave up and decided he would just have to wake up if he was sleeping. His voicemail picked up. "Hey Mark, I was just wondering if you had something sent to the villa for me. There's a package here with my name on it, and I'm kinda weirded out." I stared at it for a long while after I hung up the phone. I knew I should wait to hear from Mark before I opened it, but you know the saying, curiosity killed the cat. I was feeling very feline at that moment. There was a pair of scissors in one of the drawers, and I used it to cut the tape on the top of the box. I was careful not to cut into the box. Ever so gently, I flipped the flaps of the box open using the scissors as my fingers. Nothing happened. There was no explosion of powder or any kind, so I decided it was probably safe for me to open. Eagerly, I dove into the box. It was filled with packing peanuts. Down at the bottom was a red cardboard box. I pulled it out and set it on the counter. A white satin ribbon was tied around it lengthwise to keep it shut. Under the ribbon was a small card that read, Lenore. I pulled the card out and looked on the back, and saw there was a heart drawn on it. I knew then this was a gift and had somehow come from Mark. I wondered if he planned to be here when it came or not, but it almost felt like he was with me. The ribbon slid off easily, and I opened the box. Inside was a single red rose with a note. "What are you doing at the villa? You're in Bali. Go see the place. I hear Metasari Beach is beautiful. If you make it out to the gazebo by sunset, you will find another surprise. Mark." I realized I was squealing with joy. In the 25 years of our marriage, I hadn't known Mark could be this romantic. Butterflies flittered through my stomach, and I completely changed my plans for the day. There was no way of knowing what the surprise would be, but I wanted to look fantastic. I booked myself a spa day with a manicure and pedicure. Then I would make my way down to the beach and find the surprise. As I sat back in the vibrating massage chair, with my feet warming in the tub of water, I realized how much I'd missed having these kinds of days. It had been years since I'd allowed myself to be pampered that way. The salon smelled of shellac, nail polish, acetone, and some kind of floral scent, no doubt used in their lotion. A woman sat down by the tub and pulled one of my feet out of the tub. She took a file to my feet to remove the calluses. I couldn't help but giggle. I'd always been ticklish, and the rub of the file was the perfect instrument for that. When she was finished, she got out a nice salt scrub that smelled of strawberries and spread it over my foot and calf, rubbing it in with long, agile fingers. The touch of her hands on my feet was particularly orgasmic. Each time she squeezed an area of my foot, I felt my body relax a bit more. After the scrub, she spread a cooling lotion over my feet and legs. The scent of cucumber and mint only served to relax me even more. I was certain my body would be liquefied by the time we were finished here. I picked out a peach color for my toes and for my hands as well. The color matched my skin tone nicely and would accent the light cotton dress I planned to wear to the beach later. That evening, I was giddy with excitement as I stepped onto the beach. I curled my toes into the white sand, enjoying the warming feeling on the bottom of my feet. I'd brought along my sandals, but I wanted to feel the energy of the earth through the beach. It had been a while since I'd grounded. I could see the gazebo at the far end of the beach. It sat on a piece of land that jutted out onto the ocean. It wasn't sunset yet, though. I still had time to enjoy the sensations of the beach. When I made my way to the water, I let the waves lap at my feet. I closed my eyes to enhance my other senses. The waves roared and crashed, and the gulls chattered overhead. I could hear the sound of children's laughter all around me. The water on my feet felt like silk rushing up my legs. When it drained away, the heat of the day contrasted with the cool feeling of the ocean. I loved the smell of salt in the air and the feel of the wind blowing my hair around me. I felt like a goddess standing at the edge of the ocean, and I could feel the energy of the earth sinking into me. After a moment, I opened my eyes and I turned to look at the gazebo once more. The sun was reaching the horizon now, the purples and oranges of the sky reflected like a mirror in the ocean, reminding me of paintings I had hung up at home. There was someone at the gazebo now, and I decided to make my way over there. Part of me hoped it was Mark, but I didn't think that was very likely. He'd been so disappointed he couldn't leave with me. I didn't hold it against him. Retirement was just around the corner for him, and he needed to work as much as he could right now. Besides, these little notes and gifts were more than enough to make up for his absence. As I got closer to the gazebo, I could see it was a man dressed in a dapper suit waiting there. He was sitting on the bench and watching the colors dance on the waves. "Hello?" I said as I joined him in the gazebo. "Lenore?" asked the man in a deeply accented voice. "Yes, that's me." I felt the blush heating up my cheeks and hoped he couldn't really see it in the current lighting. He handed over another red box with another satin ribbon holding it closed. I pulled off the ribbon and ran it through my fingers, feeling thrilled at the slippery material. Inside was another rose with a note. "I hope you had a relaxing day, my love. Get some rest tonight. You have a busy day ahead of you tomorrow. I know you'll love getting to spend some time learning about Dui Danu, the Balinese Hindu goddess of rivers. See you soon, Mark." Underneath the rose was a printed ticket voucher for a tour of the Bali water temples and the UNESCO rice terraces. I wondered what he meant by spending some time with Dui Danu. As a pagan, I was familiar with many gods and goddesses across the many pantheons of the world. I thought I knew most of the Hindu pantheon as well. The thought of learning about an unfamiliar goddess was exciting for me. I looked over at the man, and he was smiling warmly at me. "I am to pick you up at the villa at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. I will drive you to the tour site, where you will tour the irrigation systems of the rice terraces. It is a beautiful place, filled with temples, gardens, beaches, and, of course, the rice terraces." "I can't wait!" I gushed at him. He smiled again and gave me another nod before making his way back up the beach. I sat at the gazebo until the last of the light winked out over the ocean and all that was left was a colored sky. Then I made my way back to the main road and hailed a cab to take me back to the villa. I wanted to make sure I was ready for the tour tomorrow. The next morning, I was up early and ate a filling breakfast of cheese, fruit, and yogurt before dressing more practically for the day ahead. I was going to be warm, so I made sure to wear my hat and packed sunscreen for the trip. At exactly 8, the doorbell rang, and the same gentleman from the night before stood there. A beautiful Lincoln Town car was waiting for me at the curb. He made sure I was settled with my seatbelt on. Then he took off towards our destination. Unlike my cab driver, this man was far less talkative. I felt like royalty sitting in the back of the car. The windows were tinted limo black, and there was seltzer water available for me. This was much more than just a cab ride. It was luxury meant to spoil me. I sat back with a smile on my lips and watched as the city sped by me. Eventually, we left the buildings behind us and headed out into the country. All around us were crops of rice and other staple grains for the area. It was different from what I'd seen in Wyoming, but it was close enough that it almost felt like home. We pulled onto a dirt road that had a small building sitting beside a gate. The chauffeur stopped the vehicle and walked around to open my door for me. I will be here when you are done with the tour, he said with another smile. Another couple was getting out of a yellow cab not far from me, and they were making their way down to the small building. I followed them down with my ticket. Mark had set me up for a guided tour with a few other people. I had a bright yellow wristband and a map when I passed through the gate. The couple that had gone before me chattered away in French. The humidity was high and the scent of tropical flowers was intoxicating. I walked down a narrow dirt path. On either side of me, foliage crowded the path with bright greens, pinks, purples, and almost every color a person could imagine. It was paradise come to life. Up ahead and around a bend was the meeting place for everyone. The tour was set to start in about 10 minutes. There was going to be a group of 5 of us with the guide. A German couple was already waiting for us to show up. While I waited, I closed my eyes again and reached out with my other senses, grounding myself to this beautiful place once more. Birds chirped all around us, singing their beautiful songs of the morning. I didn't recognize most of the flowers around me, but I picked out the marigold, hibiscus, and ylang-ylang. There were hundreds more mixed in I would have to discover. Once I could feel the energy of the earth within me, I opened my eyes, feeling as though I was perceiving the world differently. The colors seemed brighter and the details sharper. I snapped several pictures of different flowers so I could study them later. Our guide was a petite woman in khaki shorts and a forest green button-down. She wore a bucket hat and had a radiant smile on her face. Her English was almost perfect. The first stop on our tour was the Botanical Gardens. Ko Ming, our guide, explained that they had plants from around the world growing here. I snapped pictures of them all and tried to pick out the individual scents as we looked at them. Butterflies swarmed around us when we made our way through the maze of plants. Every color under the sun was represented on the beautiful insects. I couldn't help but wish I could bring them home with me. The next stop was the rice terraces. These terraces had been named a UNESCO Heritage Site, and rightly so. We came over the crest, and before us sprawled tiers of beautiful Jatiloui rice plants. It was a peaceful scene, with the different tiers reminding me of the perfectly manicured golf courses I'd seen at home. The smell was different. I never before seen a rice plant, but I immediately loved it.
These were named a World Heritage Site in 2012,
said Ko Ming. She gestured to the green steps below. Even the steps between each tier were covered in growth.
Here we have festivals every 105 days in accordance with the rice growing season. While there is no celebration today, there will be one soon as the crop is almost ready for harvesting.
The rice was grown using a world-renowned irrigation system, and I couldn't help but feel small in comparison with the bounty of Mother Earth. This masterpiece had been created using the tools Mother Earth already had in place, and the symbiosis was eloquent. Beyond the terraces there was a beautiful water system set up with lakes and ponds. In the distance I could see the temples and was looking forward to spending time there as well. The trek down to the water was tiring, but also rejuvenating. I've never experienced something so enchanting, and I tried to memorize every detail for later. The sound of moving water greeted us as we reached the bottom of the terraces, and again I could feel a breeze. There was no salt smell here. All of this was fresh water. There was a slight mist around us, and I could feel the droplets on my body cooling me down.
Duidanu is the Hindu goddess of rivers,
said Ko Ming.
She is the daughter of Daksha and Panchajanya. In this area you will find many statues depicting her with a water dragon or a lotus flower. The place we are going now is a sacred space, and we ask you to please give it the respect it deserves.
We walked along the shore of the river, and there were many different alcoves with statues of Duidanu in there. Though I felt drawn to these statues, I didn't touch them. Instead, I tried to feel the energy of their presence. I was excited to add Danu to the list of goddesses I could call upon if needed. Finally, around the bend, we reached the temples. They were small structures with thatch roofs that got smaller and stacked higher and higher into the sky, reminding me of the stackable toys children played with. We were not allowed to enter the temples, which was understandable. These were some of the holiest places in the country, and I wouldn't have dared to impose myself. But just being in their presence gave me a feeling of calm and peacefulness, as though all of my worries had been lifted from my shoulders. Despite the hard work I had put in today with the hike, I knew I would be leaving this place feeling better than I had going in. I hoped the peace and serenity of this place would stay with me for years to come. True to his word, the chauffeur was waiting for me when I finally finished the tour in the mid-afternoon. When I got in the car, there was another red box in the seat next to me. I tried unsuccessfully to stifle a giggle as the butterfly started up inside me once more. Inside was another rose with a note. "It's time to get dolled up, so tonight take some time and relax. Tomorrow is another busy day. Mark." The note was far more cryptic than what I had come to expect, so I was almost disappointed with it. But the grin on the chauffeur's face cheered me up. He was clearly in on the plan and was excited to see it through to the end. At the villa, there were more packages waiting for me. The chauffeur had waved goodbye and told me he would be back around 3 o'clock the next day. I wondered what adventure I would get to see next. I picked up the packages and brought them into the house. The air conditioning felt nice after the heat and humidity of the Balinese climate. One was a long, flat package, and the other was a square box about 1 foot by 1 foot. I opened that one first. Inside, there were more packing peanuts and another red box. This one didn't have a satin ribbon on it, though. It was a crushed red velvet, the kind of box that let you know there was jewelry inside. I opened the box and gasped. Inside was a gorgeous set of diamond earrings and a beautiful diamond necklace. I couldn't imagine what occasion I could possibly wear these to. They would be some of my most treasured possessions. I quickly pulled the necklace out of the box and ran over to the bathroom to see what I looked like with it on. The string of diamonds was cool against my chest and neck, but they glittered magnificently in the light of the bathroom. I felt tears well up in my eyes. This was the fanciest gift he'd ever gotten me. Gently, I placed the necklace back inside the velvet box and closed it tight. I would be packing these home on my carry-on. Curious now, I went and opened the other box. Inside was a white satin gown that had been hung from a cardboard hanger at the top of the box. It didn't quite look like a wedding dress, at least not in the typical style. There was no fluffy tulle or lace or pearls. Instead, it was more of a formal ball gown with sleek lines. Wherever I was going tomorrow was going to be fancy, to say the least. I ran my hand down the dress, reveling in the feel of the glossy fabric on my hand. I couldn't even imagine what that material would feel like over my whole body. It was a luxurious thought. As per the note, I made sure to get dolled up the next day. I went to the hair salon and had my hair styled in an updo. I was a little bit anxious, but the scalp massage I received with my hair wash went a long way to soothing that feeling. I loved the smell and busy atmosphere of a high-end salon. It always made me feel so pampered. After my hair was done, I had my nails and toenails touched up with the peach color again. I had no idea what event I was going to, but the color suited me and my mood. Back at the villa, I had just time to get dressed before the doorbell rang. I looked at the time on my phone and was a little surprised. The chauffeur was early today. I went to the door as I clasped my second earring. "Just a minute," I shouted. When I opened the door, I gasped in surprise. It was Mark. "You look stunning," he said in a whisper. "What are you doing here? I thought you were going to be at least another day." "I might not have been completely honest with you about the length of time I would have to stay home," he said with a smile. For the first time I noticed he was dressed in a white tuxedo. I backed into the house, letting him in with his luggage. "What's going on?" I asked, unable to keep my curiosity at bay any longer. "Well, when we first got married, we had about 4 months to plan it, and we didn't have any money," he said. I nodded and waved him to continue. I knew all of this. "And it was a Christian wedding at my mother's insistence." I remembered that too, but she had been paying for the wedding and I had little say in any of it. "So, in about half an hour, we're going to get properly handfasted with our friends and family." I waved my hands in front of my face, trying to stave off the tears of happiness that I knew were coming. "You planned all of this for me?" I asked in a husky voice, still fighting the tears. He grabbed my hand and kissed it on the palm. "I have never been luckier than the day I met you, Lenore. You have been a loving wife and amazing mother to our children. You deserve every bit of happiness I can give you." He kissed me then, and he tasted like home. I had missed him so much over the past few days, and now I felt whole again. We had the hand fastening on Metasari Beach at sunset. Just before the gazebo, a large archway had been constructed, and an officiant stood before it. On the table next to the arch was an altar that had been set up with symbols for all of the elements. There was sand for earth, incense for air, a candle for fire, and a chalice of water. There was also a red satin ribbon and a small broom set there. Our family sat in wooden fold-up chairs in an arc around the gazebo. There was no aisle here. I wasn't being given away. This man wanted me to enter into the renewal willingly and of my own accord. I felt my eyes water as he took my hands in front of the officiant, and I could see his dark eyes were tearing up as well. When I had first realized what was happening, I panicked. I didn't have anything prepared for the ceremony, and I wasn't sure what I would say. But as we stood there together, it felt like the rest of the world had melted away. It was only me and my love, standing here with our toes buried in the warm sand. No one else existed, and we didn't need to say any words. Everything we'd ever wanted to say had been said. Now we were acting out of a love so deep it couldn't possibly be measured. I jumped when the officiant placed the ribbon over our hands. While I was gazing into my lover's eyes, I had forgotten we were there. The ribbon brought me back to earth, and I laughed with joy as he knotted our hands together. Before us he placed the small broom. Mark and I jumped it together to the tumultuous cheers of our loved ones. Together we laughed and we kissed. The setting sun bathed us in the pinks and oranges I had grown to love here in Bali. I had no idea where the next 25 years would lead us, but I knew I would love spending every minute of it with this man.
The Snowman. The crisp snow crunched under my heavy winter boots as I made my way across the white lawn in front of my house. I could have taken the shovelled sidewalk, but the white expanse of the yard was a canvas waiting to be used. I was only 10, and I really didn't need an excuse to leave a fresh trail. The walk across the lawn served a secondary purpose besides my artwork. I was also testing the viscosity of the snow. In order to make a proper snowman, the snow had to have the right texture. If it was too fluffy, nothing would hold, and it would all blow away the next day. If it was too wet and heavy, there was no way you could get the snowman to look right. It would be disfigured and lumpy. No, there was definitely a nice in-between I was aiming for. Midway across the yard, I removed my knitted mitt and bent over to test out the snow. My hand was hot and it steamed a little when I took off the mitt, but before long it was quite cold. I reached into the snow, feeling the crystals underneath my fingers. It was cold enough to make the palm of my hand ache, but I ignored the pain. I would be wearing gloves when I made the snowman. Closing my fist, I pulled up a handful of snow. Inside my hand, the snow had formed into a lumpy ball. But it was still white, and it wasn't runny. I held the ball up by my ear and gave it an extra squeeze. There was a soft, crunching sound, and I knew today the snow was at that magical place where snowmen could be created. With a whoop, I dropped the ball and grabbed my mitt, then dashed up to the front step of my house. I yanked the front door open and dashed into the entryway of our house. I could smell the soup my mum was making for supper. My stomach grumbled at the smell of the cream of potato soup. I was starving, but I had plenty of time to get started before supper was ready.
Hey, how was your day?
My mum poked her head out of the kitchen to offer me a smile. I dumped my book bag on the floor and readjusted my scarf. Good, I said quickly. Then I pulled my mitt back on and dashed back out the door. Over the years, I had prided myself on my snowmen. I had started with my dad, who had taught me all about the special snow that was needed to get the job done right. He used to come out with me as often as he could to help me build one. Now he had a job where he wasn't home as much, but I still continued the tradition. Wherever he was, I knew he was at least thinking about building a snowman, even if he was too busy to actually do it. It was a hefty responsibility, but one I was eager to undertake. In the garage, I stashed a bunch of tools for the job. Of course, there were the button eyes, the scarf, the hat, and the stick arms. But I also had tools in there for smoothing the snow out and for carving details like a coat and snow pants. I fancied myself quite the artist when it came to building snowmen. All of my tools and props fit nicely into a wooden caddy my dad had built for me. The paint was beginning to wear off the handle from the amount of times we hauled it in and out, but it added to the charm, I thought. Once I was set with my tools, I got to work. First things first, I had to get the base ready. I picked up a big handful of snow and began meticulously crushing it into a hard ball in my hands. I loved the sound of the crunching snow. It was a soothing reminder of fond memories. Then I dropped it into the snow and began pushing it around the yard. I avoided the area where I had walked, aiming for an evenly rounded ball. I left a squiggly trail behind me as I worked. Once I had a ball that had a circumference as big as my waist, I was satisfied. If my dad was here, I would have him lift the heavy ball and place it where I wanted it. As it was, I was going to have to build the snowman right here. I picked up another ball of snow and began building the second tier. This one went faster because it was smaller. I was just strong enough to lift it and push it onto the base. Once it was there, I packed snow around the seam of the two balls to make sure it stayed in place. Exhausted, I dropped down into the snow beside the man and watched my breath curl lazily out of my mouth. The sun was nearly gone by this time. That was the worst part about building the snowmen after school. There was always the rush to beat the sun going down. My mum didn't like me being out in the front yard at night, and I was always more than happy to go inside. Our little street had a magical look to it when the moon was full, and on those nights, Mum would let me stay out a little bit longer. But when the moon wasn't full, I was too scared to stay out by myself. I kept my break short. The sun was moving too fast. Quickly, I formed another ball and rolled it around the yard before lifting it onto the top of the figure. This part was tricky. I had to stretch and stand on my tiptoes to make it work. Then I packed the snow around the ball again to make sure it wouldn't roll away. I heard the front door open and my mum poked her head out. "It's time for supper. If you eat quickly, you might be able to finish." I looked over at the setting sun, which was turning the snow on the horizon a pretty lavender colour. I would have to be fast if I wanted to finish him. Wasting no time, I dashed into the house. In the entryway, I stripped off my heavy snowsuit, which had kept me comfortable outside, but was now trying to suffocate me with warmth. Then I kicked off my boots. I was about to make a run for the table, but my mum gave me one of those looks, the kind you can feel from across the room even if you can't see it. So instead, I turned around and hung up my coat and snow pants and stacked my boots on the mat. By then, she had a big bowl of soup and a fresh warm bun on the table for me. I cut open the bun and put a slab of butter on it, watching it melt and moisten the bread. There was only one way to eat potato soup. The bun had to be used as a ladle. Eagerly, I dipped the bun into the creamy white soup and then raised it to my lips. I noticed the steam just in time to avoid burning my mouth. "Do you need an ice cube?" Mum asked. "Yes, please," I responded. She bent the ice cube tray with a snap and she freed a cube. It made a snapping noise as soon as it hit the soup. I chased it around with my spoon, watching it as it shrank in the heat. When it seemed to be a more reasonable temperature, I dipped my bun in again and began scooping it into my mouth. I was keenly aware of the time that had slipped by while I waited for my soup to cool and was doing everything I could to make it up. "Slow down," she said with a laugh. "You're going to give yourself a tummy ache. Take a moment to enjoy the soup." With a sigh, I did as she said. Using my spoon, I took a mouthful and closed my eyes as the buttery, creamy flavour rolled over my tongue. It really was my favourite. As I sopped up the last bit of soup from my bowl with the bun, I took a look out of the kitchen window. To my dismay, I saw the sun had set, and I knew I would have to wait to work on my snowman until after school tomorrow. It bothered me to leave an unfinished project outside, but I tried not to bug my mum about it. Instead, I helped her load the dishwasher. Then I heard the front door push open. "Hello?" I recognised the voice of my dad. With my eyes wide, I ran to the entryway and jumped into his open arms. "You're home!" I shouted. "You didn't think I was going to miss making the first snowman, did you?" He set his suitcase aside and grabbed his gloves out of the basket. "What are you waiting for? Get dressed." With a giggle, I grabbed my winter gear and began the arduous task of putting it on. It was cumbersome and annoying, but it was also well worth it. Once I was ready, we opened the door, ready to go finish our sculpture. "Wait!" cried Mum from the kitchen. I froze, half afraid she was going to say it was too late anyway and it would have to wait until tomorrow to finish. Then she emerged from the kitchen, holding a large carrot.
"He's going to need a nose, isn't he?"
she asked with a smile. She handed me the carrot and then we were out the door. My dad stood back and admired the work I'd done so far.
"You know, you've got talent, kiddo," he said.
His praise filled me with a warm, fuzzy feeling I had grown to love. If I had managed to impress him, I knew I had done well. We jumped to it quickly. I knew he was probably hungry, but he didn't care. What was important was the time we had together. Even though it seemed to be less as his job took him farther and farther away, he still made this time a priority. I was old enough to recognise this now. Together we cut through the crisp snow with tools, shaping the balls into the form of a real man. He still had the stick arms and the carrot for the nose, but we did our best to give him 2 legs and a winter coat. Once we were done with the carving, we put the buttons on his face and traced a smile for him. Dad pushed the carrot in for his nose. Then we wrapped his neck with a red scarf and placed the knitter's cap on his head. We stood back to admire our work, both of us sending tendrils of breath steam up into the air. It was a true masterpiece. I crossed my fingers inside my mitts, hoping the weather would hold out and the sky could be here for a long time. I leaned in and hugged my dad. "I missed you," I said.
"I missed you too,"
he said. I heard the front door open again, and my mum stuck her head out.
"Are you two planning on becoming snowmen yourself, or are you going to come in for some hot cocoa and a bedtime story?"
Even as a teenager, my dad built snowmen with me. Once I had my own kids, he came along to help us build those ones too. The snowmen will forever be a symbol of love and family ties, thanks to the dedication of my father.
Chapter 3. Guided Meditations. When a person meditates, they go into their mind and body, finding a way to relax. In some ways, what happens in your imagination can be interpreted as real in the brain. For example, imagining a stressful situation will lead your brain to releasing stress-related hormones to help your body deal with it. Imagining a relaxing, soothing place will help your body to relax because it believes it is in that situation. And this is where meditation can come in and help you sleep at night. When you run through an imaginary scene of yourself relaxing or doing something soothing, you can physically relax your body and prepare it for sleep. Above, I provided you with several short stories to help you relax before bed, and for some people, that's all it will take. For others, placing themselves inside the story will give them the peace they need to drift off. I will have 3 guided meditations for you here. Each will have a different purpose. The first will help you alleviate anxiety before bed. Second will be one that calms and focuses the mind. Finally, I will have a meditation that helps you to focus on each muscle in your body and physically relax it. For most people, it helps to record themselves reading the meditations out loud so they can listen to it at night. If that doesn't suit you, you can also just read through the meditation and then follow through with it after you've finished reading. You may want to refer back to these meditations many times throughout your life. If you feel one of them doesn't work for you, feel free to tweak them in your mind to give yourself the experience that will work best for you. There are no wrong answers when it comes to meditation and visualizations. Eventually, you may even create your own familiar visualizations you return to for comfort. Once you have mastered the meditations below, there are many others you can find. There are apps that can be used to help you meditate on a regular basis. Some will provide guided visualizations and meditations, while others will offer you timers so you can set your own pace. The habit of meditation will not only help you sleep better, but it will also help with reducing stress in your day-to-day life. When your stress is reduced and you are able to focus more on the present moment, you will find more peace in your life, which will also lead to a better night's sleep. Letting go. This meditation is designed to help you release the things causing you anxiety, whether that be recent worries or past events that give you painful memories. For this meditation, you will need to find a place where you can relax your body in a sitting position or laying down. Preferably, this will be in an area where you will be undisturbed. Once you find a comfortable position, close your eyes. If you're uncomfortable closing your eyes, you may softly gaze in front of you. Take several deep breaths to open up your lungs and help you relax. On each inhale, straighten your spine and check your posture. For each exhale, relax your body, dropping your shoulders and allowing your muscles to relax. Remember to relax your face, keeping a soft smile if it's comfortable. Relax your forehead and even your tongue. If possible, feel the muscles in your scalp and see if you can get them to soften as well. Now, return to your natural rhythm, breathing through your nose and out through your mouth. If this is too uncomfortable, you can breathe through your mouth. You are walking along a dirt road through a thin forest. The road has been heavily trodden, and you can see the ruts and paths made by carts and foot traffic. You easily find a high spot to walk on. The sun has reached its noonday peak, and you are looking forward to taking a break from your walk to relax. Though you are weary, you put one foot in front of the other, steadily working towards your destination. Around you, the wind rustles the leaves on the trees and the birds sing their songs. Then your eyes drift to the sides of the road, where you see a stone. You focus on the stone, ignoring the sounds around you. Then you add it to your pack. You realize your pack already has several stones in it, and think that this is part of the reason for your weariness. Still, one more stone won't add too much weight, so you put it in before slinging the sack over your shoulder. Again, you hear the sounds of the forest, the birds singing, the steady clomping of your feet and the wind blowing through the trees. On the other side of the road, you see another stone, and you once again focus on it. You lift it up and feel the weight, but decide to add it to your pack. It will only make you stronger, you rationalize. Then you carry on, making your way over the ruts and the footpaths worked into the road. As you walk, you can feel stones shifting in the pack on your back. You hadn't realized how many stones you had stopped to pick up on the way. But you know your destination is just around the corner, and you'll soon be able to rest. You pass 3 more stones on your journey. Each one compels you to pick it up to add to your burden. Your steps are getting slower, and your body is sore from the weight. But you still are determined to carry on. You can see the smoke from the chimney up ahead, and are looking forward to resting in the sitting room with a cup of tea. Up ahead of you, there is a figure waiting on the side of the road. You recognize this person and immediately feel at ease when you see them. Their face is familiar. Perhaps it's a parent, a friend, or a teacher. In any case, their smile makes you stop for a minute. "What's in the sack?" they ask. "It looks heavy." "Just some stuff that I picked up," you say, wondering why you bothered to pick up all of the stones. "Can I help you with that?" they ask. They reach out a hand and take the pack off your back. Immediately you feel a sense of relief as you hand it to them. "Do you really need all of these?" they ask and open the sack. You reach inside the sack and pull out a stone. You see it is covered in writing, and reading it you realize it's one of the many worries you have added to your body. Your friend reaches out and takes the stone from you, opening their own sack. "Here, let me help you." They place the stone in their pack. You pull out another stone and read the writing on it. "I don't think you need that one," they say, and chuck the stone into the bush behind them. You continue this ritual, sorting the stones with your friend. Some are stones you need to keep, others are unimportant and get tossed into the bush. Others your friend helps you carry. Continue on until you feel you have dealt with all the stones in your bag. When you return your pack to your shoulders, you're amazed at how much lighter it feels. Most of the stones were unnecessary, or your friend could help you carry. There are only a couple you keep with you. You stand tall and give your body a twist, releasing the tension that mounted beneath those stones. Your body feels light and free, and you continue down the path towards home, knowing you can easily make it without the unnecessary burdens holding you down. You pass the wooden gate to your yard and make your way up the cobblestone sidewalk to the front of your stone cottage. The door creaks as you open it, but the scent of home welcomes you as you step in. A wood fire crackles in the wood stove in the living room. You remove your pack and hide it in a cubby by the door. The stones can wait for another day. It's time to relax now. You've earned it. After pouring hot water over some loose tea, you settle into your armchair and lean back to relax. The day is done, and your burdens have been set aside. As you close your eyes, you listen to the fire crackling in the stove, feeling the peace of the day settle over you. At this point in the meditation, you may find yourself drifting off to sleep. If not, bring your attention back to your breathing. Inhale, exhale. Inhale deep breaths. Exhale slowly and long. You may begin to wiggle your toes and fingers, gently bringing your attention back to the physical world. Once you are ready, you may open your eyes. Total relaxation. This meditation will help you to relax your body, which will in turn help relax your mind. It is most effective after a short exercise routine, such as yoga. This meditation requires you to be lying down. If this is right before you sleep, then your bed is the perfect place to do this. Make sure you are able to be comfortable and reduce the distractions in your room. Shut off your phone, turn off the lights, and let anyone who might interrupt know that now is not a good time. Your meditation time needs to be something you keep solely for yourself. Once you are in bed, close your eyes, or if this makes you uncomfortable, soften your gaze and stare at the ceiling. During this exercise, you will be focusing on different areas of your body. But first, you will focus on your breath. Take a deep breath in, stretching out your lungs with your breath. Hold it for a couple of seconds. Then exhale slowly, counting to 7. Take another deep breath, filling your chest to capacity. Then hold it for the count of 2. And exhale, slowly counting to 7. Do this several times, then return to your normal breathing pattern. Inhale and exhale through your nose. If you find breathing through your nose is uncomfortable, feel free to breathe through your mouth. The entire point of this exercise is to do what feels most comfortable to you. Once your breath has returned to its natural rhythm, bring your attention to your feet. Try to feel the pulse of energy around your feet. Perhaps you can notice your heart beating. How are your feet feeling? Are they tired? Sore? Pay attention to what they are telling you. Direct your breath to the areas that need attention, and imagine a white healing light surrounding the area. Now, on your next inhale, activate the muscles in your feet, tensing them as hard as you can. Inhale slowly to a count of 5. Make sure you leave the rest of your body feeling relaxed. On your exhale, relax your feet and feel the energy surge through them. They will feel light, almost as though they are floating. For some, they will feel heavy, like they are sinking into the mattress. Next, we are going to move up to the calf and shin muscles. Just like your feet, examine the area for any tenderness that may need to be looked after. Breathing with your natural rhythm, focus your attention on problem areas and envision a healing white light surrounding it and soothing the pain and tension. Once again, on your next inhale, activate these muscles as hard as you can while slowly counting to 5. If you begin to develop a cramp or some discomfort, immediately release the muscle and go over the healing light one more time. If the cramping continues, then you may skip over that part of your body for now. On your exhale, release these muscles, feeling the blood rush through. Notice how they feel in comparison with your feet. You are going to move up to your thighs now. Feel the aura of energy over the skin and the heartbeats beneath it. Focus the white light on any areas that are tense or particularly sore. Breathe through a few cycles as you focus this light. Once you have soothed the areas to your satisfaction, begin the process of activating them. As you inhale, tense the muscles and count to 5. Remember, keep the rest of your body relaxed as you do this. Your goal here is to focus on each individual area and help it to soften. With your exhale, relax the muscles. Feel the tension drain out of it. How are they? Do they feel light? Heavy? Can you feel a change in the energy surrounding them? These things are important to notice because, in the future, you may be able to relax your muscles more easily with this technique. Now you're moving up to your buttocks and pelvic floor. It's important to pay attention to your pelvic floor. This is an area that is often passed over, but this muscle also needs to relax. Bring your focus to these areas and let yourself feel the energy. It might feel different here, as these muscles are the home of the root and sacral chakras. Your root chakra is at the base of your spine, and your sacral is just above the pelvic bone.
pay attention to any feelings of tenderness or discomfort. In those areas, keeping your natural breathing rhythm, focus the healing light and imagine your breaths soothing it. Once you've completed that step, you may once again activate these muscles, inhaling slowly for a count of 5. Then as you exhale, release your muscles and let them relax. Feel the energy in the area. Does it feel different? In what way? Moving up to your abdomen and lower back, we come into the area of the solar plexus chakra. Once again, you might notice a slight difference in the feel of the energy, but that is normal. As you breathe, internally examine the area, checking for any areas that might need healing. If you find nothing, then continue on to the activation of your muscles. If there is an issue, be sure to focus your attention and the white healing lights in that area. Make sure you count slowly to 5 as you activate the muscles and inhale. If there is any cramping or discomfort, relax the muscles and repeat the healing light exercise. Once you have inhaled for 5 seconds, you may begin the slow process of exhaling and relaxing the muscles. Again, be sure to pay attention to the area and notice how your body feels after relaxing it. Next, we will move on to the chest area and the upper back. Here, we will find the heart chakra. Feel free to note any differences in the feeling of energy in this area. In this area, you can also feel your heart pumping if you pay attention. If there are any areas of soreness or discomfort, be sure to focus the light on them and soothe them with your breath. Once that step is complete, you may inhale and tense up your muscles to a slow count of 5. At this point, you may begin your exhale and relaxation of the area. Note the feelings here. Does your heartbeat seem more prominent? How about the energy? Does it feel different? Compare the parts of your body that have gone through the exercise with the ones that haven't. Can you feel the difference in the weight? Move up to your shoulders next, bringing your attention to any tightness. This is an area where many people hold their stress, and it's important to use the white light to help the shoulders let go. Once you have soothed the area, it is time to inhale and activate the muscles for a count of 5. On the exhale, release the tension and feel the muscles soften. How does the energy feel? After your shoulders, you begin on your left arm, focusing on the bicep. If there are any areas of tension or discomfort, soothe them with the healing light. Otherwise, you may begin your inhale, tensing the muscle for a count of 5. When exhaling, let the muscle gradually relax. Feel the change in energy and weight of the muscle. Next, move down to your forearm. Any areas of soreness can be tended with the white light, using your natural breathing rhythm. Once they have been looked after, you can begin to inhale, tensing the muscles for a count of 5. Relax the muscles on the exhale, noting the change in energy and blood flow. Bring your attention to your hand. Feel the flow of energy in it, and check for any areas that are sore or tense. If needed, focus the light on these areas to help it heal. Then, as you inhale slowly for 5 seconds, ball your hand up into a fist as tight as you can, relaxing it on the exhale. How does your hand feel? Does it want to float? Or is it sinking with your arm?
Repeat the same process on your right arm, starting with your bicep. First check for any areas that need healing light, then tense the muscles and relax them. Compare the feeling of the energy after releasing your muscles to what it felt like before. Can you feel the difference? From here, we move to the neck area. This is the home of the throat chakra. Check the area over for any soreness. Don't forget to look inside the body too. If you have a sore throat from a cold, the area can benefit from the attention of the light. After you have soothed the area, you may begin to inhale and tensing your muscles. This is a sensitive area of the body, so be sure to look for signs of discomfort. If you feel anything, please discontinue with this activation. On the exhale, relax your neck muscles and check your energy. It might feel different because of the throat chakra. The next step is to move into the base of the skull and the scalp. This might seem counterintuitive, but it will help you to relax. Bring your attention here. Try to feel the follicles on your head and check for any areas that are tense. If you notice anything, bring your awareness to it and focus the light on it. It might be difficult to know how to tense up your scalp, but try it anyway. Be careful with the base of your skull. This is again a sensitive area, and it's important to stop immediately if you feel pain. Tense everything up on an inhale for a count of 5. Exhale and relax the area. The scalp contains the crown chakra, and you may notice the energy in this area feels different because of this. Just make a mental note of it and move on. Now we are going to focus on the muscles in the face. This is an area that can often hold a lot of tension we aren't aware of. Check it over carefully for any tension in the jaw, at the temples, behind your eyes, or perhaps in the third eye chakra. If you see an area that needs attention, use the white healing light to help it. Then, on your next inhale, you scrunch up your face for a count of 5. With your exhale, relax and soften all your facial muscles. Pay attention to each one and consciously soften it. Now that you've gone through this exercise on your entire body, take a look at how you feel. Your muscles have all relaxed and you can feel your body slowly sinking into the mattress. It's possible you may drift off to sleep at this time. Don't fight it if you do. If you have other things to tend to, slowly begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing your awareness back to the physical world. You may open your eyes whenever you are ready. Stilling the mind. This meditation is designed to help calm the mind and help you remove the thoughts that may prevent you from drifting off into sleep. These thoughts aren't necessarily anxiety-inducing. Rather, they are keeping your brain active and preventing you from falling asleep. It may work best with white noise or soothing music playing in the background. This is a meditation that can be used in a variety of different ways. It can be helpful to still the mind before sleep, or it can be used in place of a power nap partway through the day. Others use this meditation as a way to quickly rejuvenate their energy during a break at work. Find yourself a comfortable place to sit comfortably or lay down. This should be in an area where you won't be disturbed and doesn't have many distractions. Begin by closing your eyes or softening your gaze. Inhale a deep breath, stretching out your lungs and filling them to capacity. Slowly inhale the breath, counting to 7. Again, inhale deep, feeling your chest expand with your full lungs. Then exhale, counting to 7. On each inhale, lengthen your spine, and for each exhale, relax your shoulders and your body. Feel the muscles on your forehead smoothen, and bring your lips into a soft smile. After several breaths like this, bring your breathing back to its natural rhythm. If it's not uncomfortable, breathe in and out through your nose. If that doesn't work for you, feel free to breathe through your mouth. With this exercise, you are going to focus your attention on one area of your body. This might be the breath, which is the typical focal point for most people who meditate. If it's the breath you are focusing on, pay attention to each inhale and exhale. Pay attention to the sound of your breath as you pull the air in. Then focus on how it feels. Is the air cool, or is it humid and warm? Once the breath is in the body, follow it into your lungs. On your exhale, feel the breath exit the lungs and head out through the nose. How does this feel? Some people feel a tickle on their upper lip. Others notice the warmth of the breath as it leaves the body. You can also focus your mind on other areas of your body. You might choose to focus on your diaphragm, noticing how it expands and contracts with each breath. Perhaps you can feel your abdomen stretching with each inhale. Others will focus on the energy they can feel in their hands rather than the breath. Where you choose to focus doesn't matter. The important thing is to bring your attention to that area. From time to time, you'll notice thoughts intruding and distracting you from your main focus. This is normal, and it's okay to have these thoughts. When you notice you are off track, just gently bring your attention back to the area you were focusing on. Pay attention to how the area feels with each inhale and exhale of your body. Continue this for several minutes. Remember, it is natural for your mind to wander. This isn't a failure on your part. It's just a part of the process. If you notice a thought distracting you, just bring your attention back to the area of focus. You don't need to be irritated at the intrusive thoughts, and you don't need to try to block them from your mind. Just notice them, then redirect your focus back to where you want it. The more you practice, the easier this will become. Once you have kept your focus on your area for about 5 minutes, you can begin some other breathing exercises that can also help you center your mind. With each inhale, count to 5, then hold your breath for the count of 2. On your exhale, make it slow and count to 5 again. Then hold it again for the count of 2. Then once again, you inhale for the count of 5. This exercise allows you to focus completely on the pattern of your breathing, and because it gives your mind something to do, the counting, it helps you to prevent the distracting thoughts from coming in. If those thoughts do come in, don't worry. Just bring your attention back to your breathing. Once you get comfortable with that breathing exercise, you can change up the count. You can inhale for 6 seconds, hold for 2, and exhale for 6. Try that until it feels natural, then increase the inhale, exhale, and hold for another second. By doing this, you are paying attention to your breathing only, allowing your mind to be clear of other thoughts. Once you've reached the count of 9 or 10, whichever suits you, slowly reduce the count back down to 5 again. After you've mastered that technique, you can try one more. This is a mantra that can help bring your focus to a particular issue you want. For example, on the inhale, you might think peace, and on the exhale, love. These 2 words will help you pay attention to the breath, allowing you to focus on manifesting a peace of mind and sending love out into the world. What you think or say doesn't matter here, even if it is a song lyric. Repeat it in your mind to the rhythm of your natural breath. As you go along, you will find this mantra will fill your mind to the exclusion of all other thoughts. If you find your mind wandering, don't worry. Simply guide it back to the mantra you were using and begin again. There is no failure, only the development of focus. When you are ready to come out of the meditation, begin by wiggling your fingers and toes to bring your mind back to your physical body. Once you are ready, you may open your eyes. Healing Waters. This is a guided visualization that will help energize you and wash away the struggle of the day. Before you lies a mountain. The stone steps carved in a spiraling staircase above you are worn with age. They have seen many sets of feet. In some areas moss grows, showing you the true age of the place. You kick off your shoes, wanting to connect with the earth as you climb the steps. You want to feel the stone underfoot and the softness of the moss as it caresses your feet. As you follow the steps with your eyes, you know this will be a long journey. But the promise of the reward at the end spurs you on. You take the first step on the stone with no hesitation. Rather than quickly climb, you understand the importance of pacing yourself for this journey. Each step is taken with a deliberate attitude, bringing you to exist only in this moment as you climb the stairs. As you climb the steps, you find yourself inhaling on one step, then exhaling on the next. The rhythm of your breath gives you peace of mind as you slowly climb to your destination. Around you, evergreen trees watch your pilgrimage in stoic silence. The only sound is the occasional cry of an eagle in the distance. The farther up the steps you climb, the thinner the foliage around you gets. Eventually, you have climbed above the tree line and are surrounded only by open mountains and patches of stubborn plants. In the distance, you can hear water bubbling and crashing. There is a waterfall and a creek somewhere ahead. With each step you take, you can feel the energy of the earth reach out to you. Through the bare soles, Mother Earth herself sends her love into you, leaving you feeling invigorated rather than fatigued. It's as though the mountain itself is welcoming you. On and upwards you climb, following the winding staircase as it makes its way up the mountain. Sometimes the path is almost straight upward. In other places there is barely an incline to the stairs. With each step you can feel yourself drawing closer to the source of your peace. There is an energy that seems to descend from the place, like a heavy, comforting mist surrounding you. Finally, you reach the apex and you pause for a moment, taking in the valley below you. Stretched before you is a valley and several mountainscapes. You have come out of the wilderness and made it to the peak of this place, and you feel pride swell in your chest as you realize all you have overcome. It may have taken time, and it may have been difficult in some places, but with each small step, you overcame the obstacles. The air up here is crisp and cool. Below you, stretch the valley and forest you've emerged from. Now is the time for you to seek your reward. You turn around and see a spring behind you. By the steam coming off the surface, you can see it is a hot spring. The water slowly gurgles as it makes its way into a stream and later down over the cliffs of the mountains into the waterfalls. You can feel the magic energy coming from this water. It isn't the fountain of youth, but you know it has properties that can leave you feeling healed. Once you reach the edge of the water, you realize you can see all the way to the bottom of the pool. On the bottom are crystals of different colours that sparkle in the sunlight on the water. Carefully, you dip your foot into the water. A warm energy seems to surround your foot. It slowly creeps up your leg as well. You are not afraid, and it is a soothing feeling, reminding you of a warm hug from your mother. Or perhaps it is the doting attention of your grandmother when you were a child. It is the embrace of the mother, and it is filled with love and comfort. You pull your foot out of the pool, then you dive in completely, letting the water close over your head. Immediately, you feel your body lighten and become unbelievably buoyant, as though all of the things that have been weighing you down have been washed away. You float on your back in the pool, staring up at the clear blue sky. Steam rises around your face, and you can feel it washing away your stress and your worries. It's as though the water is pulling those thoughts out of your pores and sending them away. Rather than the toxic feelings of stress and worry, your body is filled with peace and contentment. With this water, you find you have a new perspective on the world. No longer are there obstacles for you to overcome, but rather challenges you must rise to. The grass is no longer greener on the other side. Rather, it is greenest at your feet where you have been watering it. As you float in the water, you gently feel your mind wandering to your happiest memories. These might be memories from your childhood, perhaps as a parent or as a friend. Whatever these memories are, they fill you with an inner warmth that you know will stay with you. When the current finally pushes you up against the shore of the pool, you climb out. You don't feel regret at leaving the pool. Instead, you feel grateful for what you have experienced. As you turn away to make your way back down the mountain, you know in your heart that this place will always be here for you. You can return whenever you need a reminder about what's important in life. While descending the mountain, you may find yourself drifting off to sleep. Let it happen. To rouse yourself from the vision, begin to wiggle your toes and fingers, bringing your mind back to your physical body. Once you're ready, you may open your eyes. Projection visualization. This meditation will help you to practice a technique that can help to prevent anxiety when trying to sleep or if you come upon something throughout the day. For this visualization, you will need to find a place where you can be comfortable and focus. If you are currently in the throes of a panic attack, it might not be easy to find a comfortable place, and that is fine. Close your eyes and take several deep breaths, filling your lungs to capacity and exhaling slowly. It's important to exhale until the lungs have been completely emptied, as this will help to calm the body and regulate your breathing. Once you are in a state where you can achieve your natural breathing rhythm, begin to do so. As you inhale, stretch your spine, and as you exhale, feel the tension drain out of your body. You are now ready to go forward with the visualization. Imagine yourself in your mind. Picture your entire body. Don't worry about the small details like eye color. What matters is that you have a sense of yourself in your mind's eye. Once you have a clear image of yourself in your mind, visualize a shield surrounding your body. This shield does not have to look any specific way. Some people surround themselves in a white light. Others imagine a stone wall or a moat surrounding them. Whatever you choose, visualize this shield encompassing you completely. As you visualize your shield, imagine the feel of the protective energy surrounding you. Imagine how it would feel to touch it, what it would smell like. Make it as real as possible in your mind. Now that you have your shield raised, picture all of the things currently bothering you bouncing off your shield. Maybe some of them will just turn into mist as they come into contact with your protection. How the problems are dealt with doesn't matter. What matters is you are aware of all the negativity, worries, and anxiety-inducing actions are bouncing off the shield. In your mind, build this shield so strong it cannot be penetrated. See it pulsing outward as it repels all that can leave you feeling upset, anxious, or uncomfortable. Once you have established your shield, you can take several deep breaths and bring your body back to the physical world. Your shield can be activated at any time you need it. Some choose to keep it activated throughout the entire day. Others only use it if they feel they need it. In either case, make sure you use it when anxiety threatens your peace of mind, and it will help you to stay calm and relaxed, helping you to get a good night's sleep.